When you think back to 1 year ago with what was happening in the comic book market, which comic books were hot, how things were going, and how things are going now, there's a pretty stark contrast. Let's find out where the hot comic books from 1 year ago are today. Hi, I'm Christopher, aka the Bronze Age Nerd, and in this series of videos, I take my top 5 not to buy from the hot comic book list, and I track their prices 6 months and 1 year later. In this video, we'll be looking back at my picks from March 5th, 2022, and seeing how they're performing now. First up on the list, let's take a look at the Batman Halloween Special, which is a reprint of The Long Halloween #1. That was a promo comic given out during showings of the IMAX version of the Batman. As usual, we start off our journey at Go Collect to see how this issue has been performing. Currently, it's trending up right now, 4.43%, with the most common grade slabbed at a 9.6. Let's check out some values here. Looking at raw sales data and going all the way back to when the list came out, this book was selling for upwards of $26. Actually, $29.99 and $35 sales happened back in March of last year, but now it's selling for $5. So that upward trend is definitely based on recent activity, not what happened a year ago. Looking over at slabs, we can see that this book is not really moving much these days. There was a sale in November for $120. And that's actually been trending a little bit up. So maybe a 9.8 is performing very well. Not a lot of sales data to base that off of, but that's interesting. A great place to go for sales data like that is Go Collect. Let's check out what they have a 9.8 universal label at this one listed at. Our 1 year average is $112 and our 90-day average is $125. So again, we are seeing a slight upward trend in this book. That's really cool. Comics Price Guide actually does not have the correct information for this book that I could find. If it's in their database, I'm sorry, I just couldn't find it. There's just basically the regular Long Halloween issue. Same with Overstreet Access. So looking at eBay sold listings, here's where we start to see that, this is from the UK for the 922. We start to see that $5 price really hold accurate. Just gonna scroll here and see, okay, yeah, here we have a 9.8 for $125 selling this month, and a 9.6 for $45, a signed 9.8 signed by Jeff Loeb for $175. Yeah, it's looking like this might be a little bit up in the, and there's one signed by Jeff Loeb for $182. So yeah, I definitely think that this book is doing pretty well in a 9.8. Now, there's not a whole lot to go off of there. If a bunch more hit the market, I don't know if that would sustain, but where it's at right now, that's pretty interesting. Often these promo comics given out aren't really in great shape, so that is something to consider when you're hunting these online. Raw, I think it's down. Graded, it's up. Interesting. All right, so let's take a look at Catwoman #40. This is the Souza Micah variant for the 1 in 25. This was our second book this week. On cover price, we do see that there is a slight downward trend on this one, although that's kind of irrelevant for a 1 year later look. It just is never that accurate because it's a more recent trend. On the near mint copies here, we see about $35 when the list came out. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, $35, and we get up to 45, 45, 52, 58. And then we start to go back down, 24, 28, and then we go back up. That's kind of interesting. We actually went kind of in a valley and back up to a return to mean there. How about slabbed? Okay, for slab books, only one sale pops up, and that's a $90 9.8. That's pretty funny. I bet you there's been more sold than that. Over on Go Collect, we have the 9.8 Universal on this one. Some best offer accepted action, it looks like, but we do have a $60 sale, a $46 sale, a $235. It's a little all over the place, to be honest. They list a 1 year average on this one as a $134, with apparently not enough sales data to represent a 90-day average, which is interesting. Okay, over on comicspriceguide.com, we have a 9.4 raw at the $25 value and a 9.8 graded at $113. Looking at Overstreet Access, we have this book as a $4 value on the 9.4 side of things, and on eBay sold listings, I have a $36 most recent sold, a $5 that has a damaged part of it though, so we'll throw that out, and then $50, $26. Those best offer accepted. Was that really it? Just double checking, make sure there's not any other ones down here that are the same book. That looks like it. Yeah, that looks like it. So on this one, I'm going to have to go and say that it's interesting how it went down and it came back up. This might be a book that has some legs on it for, no pun intended, for a little bit further down the line. This is an artist that continues to be very popular, and I think will continue to do very well for a long time to come. So this is a book that people might come back to. However, there are other books that she did for this Catwoman run that I think are more iconic for her look and I would be looking at those instead, personally, if it was me. All right, now let's take a look at another 1 in 25 variant, which is Deathstroke Inc. number 6. This is the Alex Garner 1 in 25. This book has that same kind of upward trend we're seeing now. And let's look at the raw sales for this one. Okay, a lot less sales data here. We do have the book popping up $60 like 2 days before the list came out, 45, 36, 55, 50, and 40. How about Slabbed? Slabbed, we have listings 50, 50, 70, 62, and then 125, which is the most recent one, and definitely a lot higher. Go Collect has 11 on the census for this book and a 9.8, and they have a 1-year FMV of $75 with a current 30 or 90-day FMV of $125. That is all based on that one sale, I bet, because before that we have the $50 and $50 sales that we saw over on Go Collect. How about Overstreet Access? Overstreet Access has this one in a raw for $40, and then we have a 9.8 at a $100 value. Over on Overstreet Access, we list this book as a $4 book, which I think is probably cover price this book. It's $1 under cover price. And then over on eBay Sold, that 125 9.8 sale, CBCS 9.8 did sell for $62.99, and then 31.30, those are raw, and I think that's all we're going to get for sales data on this one. Okay, so where I'm at with this one is, looks like 9.8 sales are starting to pick up on it. That is based on one sale, though. That's not a whole lot of information to really go off of for a sample size. And in fact, looking at all the sources of sales information for this book, there's really not a lot of sales to it. That either means there's not a lot of copies out there, or it means there's not a lot of interest in the book, particularly, long term, or both. So both could be possible. Remember, things are only valuable if they're rare and desirable. So this book, I feel like it's maybe seeing some new life. People that are really going down and hunting it might give a little bit more for it. But I think if you were investing in it at that time period and trying to get your money out of it, it probably didn't pan out. All right, guys, this one's probably going to send me on an emotional roller coaster. That's because this is a book that, as I mentioned in the original video, I've been hunting the entire time, and I've been watching the prices. I'm not too worried about it. There's plenty of them out there, and the price really hasn't changed that much, which is why I haven't pulled the trigger. And that is the Invincible 2 Tyler Kirkham Adam Eve cover from Whatnot. Yeah, this book has not gone down much. We see the current trend is down 1.5%. Not a huge change. Now, it is worth noting, and I think I brought this up in the original video too, there are 3 different versions of this book. I'm tracking the 4 different versions, actually. I'm tracking the kind of regular trade dress version of this book, and we are looking at raw sales data in the 994 range. They're all over the place. 350 back, actually, before I made the video, 400, 425, and 425. Or you could say near mint plus, which I don't usually look at, 500 or 515. When we're talking slabs, we are talking about 370 back in May of 2022 and 164 back in December. That was a great buy there. Over on Go Collect, let's check out, you could go to 10 or 9.9s on this. They were in pretty decent page quality or paper quality. Let's look at 9.8s though, just to keep it consistent. 1-year average is 245. That is pretty accurate from what I've seen. And the 90-day average is 202. So we've actually seen a dip recently. However, the last sale was 253. And then we have a CBCS at 207, 196, 169. That's a damn good deal. That must be that one. No, that's actually back in January. That was a great deal. So there you go. Let's check out comicspriceguide.com. Comicspriceguide.com has this as a $100 raw book and a $450 graded book in a 9.8. Over on Overstreet Access, they actually don't have this variant available, so we're going to head over to eBay Sold listings, where you can see a 9.4 just sold for $135. Best offer accepted, less than $150. Interesting. Less than $125. So, this is a book that I say I've been tracking it. I haven't looked in a little bit. Might see some price drops on this one finally. $253 for a 9.8, $207 for a 9.8, $195, $168.50. So yeah, actually, you know what? I'm kind of changing my opinion here as I'm looking at this list. I think this might actually be a decent time to buy this book finally, because it's starting to kind of drop a little bit. I'm going to see if it drops a little bit more before I pull the trigger, but it's awesome to finally see that. It is a gorgeous cover. Regardless of whether or not you like the Invincible remakes or the battle damage or how much they've been overdone or whatever, I think that's a great cover. I love the colors on it especially, so that's pretty awesome. All right, now we're going to take a look at some Moon Knight spec. That's right, everybody's favorite spec is Moon Knight spec, And we're going to start off with Secret Avengers #1, the final book from the list. This was a theory that Moon Knight was going to join the West Coast Avengers. So this is the 2010 version of Secret Avengers #1. This is the Marko Djurjevic original cover. No slab sales data. It is up 7%. So let's take a look at that raw sales data that they do have. All right, and shit. Okay, so this book reached heights of $20, $15, $9, $11, but we went down to $3 and then $10. That's not much to go off of there. Let's look at the Go Collect slab data for this. There is 18 on the census according to Go Collect. Last sold was $40. Okay, $40. How about comicspriceguide.com? 9.4, $4 in a raw, and $25 for a 9.8. Over on Overstreet Access, they call this a $12 raw book. And on eBay sold listings, let's see here, $10 and $7.37 from the UK, $9, $5.50. So that's taking us back to January. $4 are actually best offer, and then $52.99 for a 9.6. So based on that, I can clearly say that this book was not a huge book to go after for sure. So what did we learn? So this is actually one of the worst weeks I've ever had as far as this goes, because we see that 9.8 long Halloweens are actually not too bad right now. We see that Catwoman 40, Sozomaika tends to have a strong pull, and that hasn't really gone away. And then when it comes to Invincible, that hasn't really dropped down to earth either. However, all three of those, I still have to, you have to ask yourselves, if those are three of the worst misses I've ever had, and none of them really would have made you a ton of money, none of them have gone up substantially, is this really that bad of an idea to kind of keep looking at these and saying, what's the ceiling? What's the best case scenario for these to go up? So far, if this is it, I think we're sitting pretty. So despite those three books having, maintained some value, I am going to say that it's still a good idea not to buy books that are on the Key Collector Trending 20, CBSI Hot 10, or Cover Price Top 10, and to go ahead and wait even just a little while, or if you're a little bit more patient, a few months, and then buy the books then. I want to take a second to thank my channel members. Their names appear on the screen right now. We just had a great stream last night, actually, where we watched Vampirella from 1996 and got to watch it, all the channel members together. I did a drawing on a live stream before that for some free books for one of my channel members, and those are some of the perks you can look forward to if you're a channel member. If you want to consider doing that, there is a join button down below. On their way down to that join button, you can hit the comment section where I want to hear how you feel about all these books and how you feel about those hot lists. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching another video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Until then, I want to remind you, as always, hey, 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 hey. Read comics every day.